The United States Army is considering a significant reduction in its active duty force. This reduction could be as high as 90,000 soldiers over the next 2 years. If implemented, this cut would bring the total number of active duty soldiers to approximately 380,000. This would be the smallest U.S. Army since before World War II. The potential decision comes as the Army faces multiple challenges, both internal and external. This proposed troop reduction is a significant development with far-reaching implications. It reflects the evolving security landscape and the difficult choices facing military planners. The Army must balance its current commitments with the need to modernize and prepare for future threats. This reduction plan is a clear sign that the Army is adapting to these new realities. The potential impact on the Army's capabilities and overall readiness is a subject of much debate. Some argue that the smaller force will be more agile and technologically advanced, while others worry about the strain on remaining units and the potential risks to national security. The Army leadership maintains that the proposed cuts are necessary to ensure the long-term strength and effectiveness of the force. The decision to downsize the Army is not without precedent. Throughout its history, the Army has adjusted its size and structure in response to changing strategic circumstances. From the post-Vietnam War drawdown to the post-Cold War peace dividend, the Army has a history of adapting to new realities. However, the current proposed reduction is notable for its scale and potential impact on the Army's ability to meet its global commitments. The Army's decision to consider such a large troop reduction is driven by several factors. Two of the most significant factors are recruiting challenges and budgetary constraints. The Army has been struggling to meet its recruiting goals in recent years. This trend is expected to continue, making it difficult to maintain the current force size. The Army is facing a challenging recruiting environment. Fewer young Americans are eligible for military service due to obesity, lack of education, and criminal records. Additionally, a strong economy and competition from the private sector make it more difficult to attract qualified recruits. The Army is investing in new recruiting strategies and incentives, but it remains to be seen whether these efforts will be sufficient to overcome the demographic and economic headwinds. Beyond recruiting, budgetary pressures are also forcing the Army to make difficult choices. The defense budget, while still substantial, is facing increasing pressure from other national priorities. Modernizing equipment, investing in new technologies, and maintaining readiness all require significant funding. The Army is caught in a difficult position. On one hand, it faces growing threats from Russia, China, and other adversaries. On the other hand, it must operate within the constraints of a tight budget. The decision to reduce troop levels is likely a reflection of this difficult balancing act. The Army is essentially choosing to prioritize modernization and readiness over sheer numbers. The potential impact of this troop reduction on the Army's readiness and ability to respond to global threats is a major concern. A smaller force could mean that the Army is stretched thinner, potentially impacting its ability to respond to crises and conflicts around the world. This is particularly worrisome given the increasing complexity and interconnectedness of global security challenges. The Army will need to carefully assess which units and capabilities are most essential for future operations. This may involve difficult trade-offs, as the Army seeks to maintain a credible deterrent while also investing in the technologies and forces of the future. The specific units and areas that would be most affected by the cuts are not yet clear. The Army's ability to project power globally could be significantly impacted by these cuts. With fewer troops available, the Army may have to prioritize certain regions or missions over others. This could have implications for U.S. alliances and partnerships, as well as for the overall balance of power in key regions. Despite these challenges, the Army leadership remains confident that it can maintain a high level of readiness and effectiveness, even with a smaller force. They argue that technological advancements combined with a more agile and adaptable force structure will enable the Army to meet future challenges head-on. It is important to note that no final decision has been made regarding the troop reduction. The actual number of troops cut could be smaller than 90,000, depending on a variety of factors, including future budget allocations and the evolving security environment. The Army will continue to assess its needs and make adjustments as necessary. The proposed troop reduction is just one piece of a larger effort to modernize and reform the U.S. Army. The Army is also investing heavily in new technologies such as artificial intelligence, hypersonic weapons, and cyber capabilities. These investments are essential to maintaining the Army's edge in an era of great power competition. The reduction, if implemented, would occur gradually over the next 2 years. This gradual approach is intended to mitigate the impact on Army personnel and their families. The Army is committed to providing support and resources to those affected by the cuts, including assistance with transitioning to civilian life. The potential troop reduction highlights the difficult choices facing the U.S. Army in a time of strategic uncertainty. Balancing current readiness with long-term modernization, while also navigating a challenging recruiting environment and budgetary constraints, will require careful planning and execution. The Army's success in meeting these challenges will have significant implications for U.S. national security in the years to come.